This is the video for the statistics test. So the first thing we're going to look at is the mean. So that is the average of the data. So if you see the word average, it's the same as the mean. How do we find it? We add all the numbers up and then we divide by the amount. So if we have the following numbers, we're going to add them all up, and then that equals 108. And then since there are 8 numbers, we're going to divide 108 by 8, and we get 13.5. So you can either say 13.5 is our average or 13.5 is our mean. Okay, so our second thing is the median. It is the middle number of the data. When the data is odd, there's one middle number that is the median. When it's even, you need to do a little bit more. You're going to have 2 numbers in the middle, and you have to find that average. So remember, average is adding up the numbers and dividing by the amount. So you're adding 2 numbers together, so you're dividing by 2. So here's a look of finding the median of an odd data set. The first thing we need to do is put our numbers in order, and then we kind of mark off from the ends going in until we find our middle number of 24. So for this data set, our median is 24. Here's a look of median data set that is even, or finding the median of an even data set. So we're doing the same thing, marking off the sides. Now we're left with 11 and 22 in the middle, so we need to add those together to get 33, and then to find that average we divide by 2. So our median is 16.5. Okay, 5-number summary. The min means the lowest number. Q1 is the middle number of the bottom half of the data set, or the lower 25% of the data. The median is the middle number of the data set, or the middle 50%. Q3 is the middle number of the top half of the data set, or the upper 25%, or a total of 75% of the data. And then the max is the highest number. Now, you can put it in your calculator to find it. What you want to do is click on Stat, press Enter because it's already on Edit, put all the numbers we have in L1, so 6, 3, 22, 43, 79, 12, 13, 1, 1, and 8. Once they're all in L1, you want to click on Stat again and go over to the right to Calc. And then Calc is already highlighted on 1 var stat. That's the test we want to use. So you press Enter and keep on pressing Enter until there's numbers that come up. You want to scroll down to the bottom where it says min through max, and that gives you your 5-number summary. And if you look on your calculator, it should give you 1 as the min, 3 as Q1, 10 as the median, 22 as Q3, and 79 as the max. Okay, so the standard deviation, the exact same steps that I just said. So stat, edit L1, enter the data, so 2, 3, 4, 87, 64, 1, 11, 23, 4, 89, 44, 56, 57, and 59. Then we're going to go back to Stat, over to Calc, and we're going to do the 1 var stat. You're going to press Enter until the data shows up. So it's either going to be 1 time or 3 times depending on the calculator. And then finding the standard deviation is the value that says SX. So if you look on your calculator, it should say 32.75, and that is our standard deviation. Okay, so outliers. The first thing we need to do to find the IQR is we need to find Q3 and Q1. So how I found these is I did the exact same steps I was just talking about in the calculator, and I ran that 1 var stat. It told me that Q1 was 3 and Q3 was 15. So now I need to find the IQR, which is Q3 minus Q1. So I take 15 minus 3 to get 12. Step 2 tells me I need to multiply that number by 1.5, and when I do that, I get 18. Now, step 3 finds the upper fence, and what I need to do is add Q3 to step 2, so Q3 plus 18, and when I do that, I get 33. If we look at our data set, we don't have anything that's larger than 83, so we don't have any upper outliers. We need to check our lower fence to see if there's any lower outliers. So, for the lower fence, we subtract step 2, so the IQR times 1.5 from Q1. So Q1 is 3, so we have 3 minus 18, which is negative 15. We don't have any numbers lower than negative 15, so we don't have any outliers of this data set. Now, something really important, with this lower fence, you want to make sure it's Q1 minus the IQR times 1.5. I've seen a lot of people put IQR times 1.5 minus Q1. It's the opposite. So just make sure you do that. And so, like I said, there's no outliers. Okay, Z-scores. So when you're looking at Sally's science scores, her score is an 82%. The class mean or the class average is an 83%. So you do your x value minus the mean, so 82 minus 83, and then you divide it by the standard deviation of 2.2. So her z-score is negative 0.45. And then for history, her score is a 71% with a class mean of a 75. So 71 divided by 75, and then we divide that by the standard deviation of 4.1. So we get that z-score to be negative 0.98. So the first thing we need to do is determine what class is she doing better in. Since negative 0.45 is larger than negative 0.98, Sally is doing better in science. Okay, to look at percentiles, we're going to look at the history percentile, which is the first thing we need to do is look at her z-score of negative 0.9. So I don't have the chart up here, but you want to go to the percentile chart. On the left column, you're going to find negative 0.9. To the right of it gives you the percentile, and it says 0.1841. There are two ways to change that into a percent. The first way is moving the decimal over 2 times to the right to get 18.41%. The second way is to multiply that decimal, so 0.1841 times 100. Both ways get you 18.41%. Now we're not done, because the question does not ask who has scored lower than her. It says who has a better grade, so who has scored higher than her. To do that, you need to do 100 minus our percent, so 100 minus 18.41 to get 81.59%. That's the amount of the class that has scored higher than Sally in history. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is a challenge question about the mean. So we have the question, Nora scored the following on her Spanish test: 56, 87, 63, 77, and 92. She wants her average test score to be an 85%, and she has one more test left. What does she need to get on that test to get an 85%? Well, we already know that our average is an 85, so we already have the mean. What we need to find is one of our x values. So we have 85 equals all the test scores, so 56, 87, 63, 77, 92, and x, divided by the amount. So we only see 5 numbers up there, but we need to count x as a number. That's why there's 6 on the bottom. Now we need to get the top by itself, because that's where x is. So if we multiply by 6 by both sides, the x's will cancel on the right, and then we have 510, because 85 times 6 is 510, equals 375 plus x. I got the 375 by adding up all the test scores we already know, and then we have that x value, that last test score that she needs to score in order to get an 85%. So if we subtract 375 from both sides, we get x equals 135. What this means is that Nora has to score 135% on her next test to have an average of 85%. So Nora cannot get an average of an 85%. I hope this video helps. Good luck on the statistics test. Wishing you the best of luck.